Hello, strong people. Week 5. 5, right? Yeah, 5. Week 5, day 2 of the Iron Grizzly Classic Prep. It's deadlift day and sandbag throw day. My pre-workout really hit hard today. I'm like too hard probably, so might let that wear off a little bit before a deadlift. You ever get too much caffeine? It's like hard to get a full breath sometimes. That could be just a me thing. I don't know. Anyway, we are doing sandbag throw to start, sandbag toss, whatever you want to call it. I believe it's like 7 triples at like 35 pounds. So, probably going to fill both bags up to 35. I honestly, I don't think I'll do all 7. I might do like 3 or 4. I mentioned it before. Sandbag toss is one of those events where I'm like, if it feels good, I'm not going to mess with it. I'm not going to do 7 throws or 7 sets of 3 if the first 3 or 4 feel locked in. I don't feel like I'm getting much out of doing 7 sets of that. I could be wrong. You know, obviously like that, there's a reason my coach has me programmed that way, but it's just one of those events where if it feels good, I'm not going to. Now, I apply this to, I don't want to rant too much here because I do want to get lifting. Not really a rant, just like a comparison thing. So, in sport in general, like baseball is what I played mostly. I played football, of course, but it doesn't quite apply in this scenario. In baseball, throwing mechanics and like, I'm more so referring to like hitting, batting. If you're really tired, like say you take 100 swings and you're starting to get gassed, does it really make sense to keep swinging while you're gassed? Because you're probably going to have, as you fatigue, you're going to get, your form's going to break down. You might get lazy with your hands, lazy with the hip, rotate, whatever. Lazy with any part of the hitting process. And then if you do that enough, you may learn to do it that way when you're not tired. It's not really a saying, but it's kind of a saying. It's like if you like you practice a bad technique, you're going to have bad technique. And if you generally speaking, learning something while tired is probably not a good idea, kind of no matter what it is. So if I'm not saying sandbag toss is going to tire me out a whole lot, but after 7 sets, I'm like, I might get a little bit tired, you know, from that many explosions in a row, because it's full force. You know, each throw you're trying to launch as high and as, well, not as far, but as high as you can over the bar for the most part. So it's a lot of explosive movements in a row. So I don't feel the need to just do 7 sets of that. We'll see, though. If they suck, we'll do some more. But we're going to do that. We're going to do that first, and then we're going to move on to deadlifts. So deadlifts is the big thing on the menu today. 1 to 3 singles at 700 to 750. So obviously I'm aiming for the 750 marker because last week we did 728 for 3 singles, I believe. So hopefully we can get 750 plus to move like 728 did last week. So that's the goal. I'd like to do all 3 singles at that weight. So we'll see. I won't do it if I don't have to. It's going to be a feel thing, whatever feels right. So that's enough talking. Let's get warmed up, get the sandbag toss set up, get the bags weighed out, and then we'll start the session. I'm like almost congested, kind of phlegmy. everybody's sick at work, so I'm like really scared I'm gonna get sick the next couple weeks. So, knock on wood. Let me do that. Yeah, there we go. So, sandbag toss was good. Not really much to say. The first set was kind of not good. I was just lazy with it, barely clearing the bar. So the next 2 sets, I've something that I do try to. I have to remind myself. The throw itself, I don't think much about. I imagine just fling it. But as far as like the backswing, I don't want to go too far. But what I do want to do is throw it like backswing kind of aggressively to try to get some of that like elasticity almost, a kind of a bounce almost. And I didn't do that the first set. You can see the difference from set 1 to 2 to 3. 2 may have been better than 3, but the sets after that went a lot better. So that was good. Not much to complain about. Now it's time for the big one. So let's get warmed up for some deads and see what happens. Thank you. All right. Well, that went a little bit different than planned. It went eventually. On like now, if I could give advice, probably don't do what I just did. The chances of you failing a deadlift and then waiting a few minutes and actually hitting it are slim to none. Unless it's like a sumo air, like a really dumb technical air, or or something. But in most cases, failing a deadlift, waiting a few minutes and trying to do it again, probably not going to happen. However, you get lucky sometimes. I don't want to say lucky. I want to say I was more strategic about my attempt there, smarter. I definitely got pretty amped up for both attempts, but on the first attempt, I kind of fizzled out. I stayed down. Sometimes I start to cough. Like it's, I don't know exactly what all it does, but I'll cough a little bit. If you ever seen like Rauno Heinle, he like starts to hack up a lung before doing a show, or before doing an event, and it's kind of like an anxiety thing. For me, it's not really anxiety. It's just that wakes me up. You start coughing, and it's almost like you're going to throw up. And you can feel the adrenaline pumping, so it's just like, and your body's like, what is happening? So it sounds dumb, but it wakes me up. Adrenaline starts pumping, and that's when I feel good. So, before that first attempt, I stayed down at the bar way too long. I was like trying not to like throw up in my mouth almost. So I went a little bit too aggressive on getting hyped up, and then crashed a little bit before I could pull the bar. So I kind of psyched myself out doing that, which is dumb. You should not be strapped into the bar that long. I didn't even record. I recorded the whole thing, but I'm not going to bother posting it all because it's like probably 30 seconds of me just standing there, which is really dumb. So that's why I didn't get that first lift. The second one, it definitely would have moved better. I should say the rep that I actually did at 758, which is a raw axle PR, by the way. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, the rep that I actually completed probably would have been a lot better if I would have just been smarter the first time around. Because I definitely fatigued myself a little bit after that first attempt. Failing a rep is more draining than getting a rep usually. I feel pretty good still. Not good enough to go for another rep, you know. It'd be dumb too. Going for that one anyway was probably pretty dumb, but we got it, so whatever. Got a little bit wobbly just above the knees. I was really trying hard not to hitch it. But once you hitch it, it just makes it so much easier. Some people train it that way. I don't want to if I don't have to, but I mean, if that's what it takes, then that's what it takes. It's strongman. You move the weight from A to B. So I don't know. I definitely train without a hitch. It seems to come pretty naturally to me to be able to hitch when I need to, so I'm not overly worried about it. If I can get it just above the knee, it's probably going to go. There's been a few instances where that has not been the case, where it may have stuck to my leg or I just wasn't strong enough. But that one today, that slid right up as intended. I'll have to watch it back to be sure, but I'm pretty sure. Obviously, I put baby powder on before that one too. But my intention was to wear some loose-fitting shorts over top of some, and this is the little strongman ins and outs stuff it's not cheating, it's just being smart about it. So I know this bar is going to stick to my legs. I know the bar that we're using in the competition is going to stick to my legs. So by wearing leggings, the bar is going to slide a little bit better. And then on top of that, if you wear some loose-fitting shorts over top of the leggings, the bar could stick to the shorts, and then the shorts will slide against the leggings because it's the material. So I believe that worked to a T. And then throwing in some baby powder, that helps too. I keep splitting my thumb up. I don't know if I don't know how I show stuff on camera. Yeah, right there. It's really dry there. It keeps ripping open, sandbag, deadlifts, whatever. So it's like right in the cracks of my finger. It's like little paper cuts that are kind of annoying. I like to get those healed up because if it's calloused over, so if those start to go on like a grip event or something, then I could lose my grip. So I need to take care of those. But I don't really have a whole lot to do after that. That was my main thing. I don't have RDLs. I do have demos though, so I'll probably record those. But no, it's pretty easy going after that. So I don't exactly know what's next besides demos, but let's just move on to demos and see what happens from there. All right. We're going to end this a little bit different today. Not too different. Usually I end up ending the video over on like a lat pull down or some sort of overhead accessory movement. Today I'm going to end it doing some Dimmel deadlifts. And if you're not familiar with Dimmel deadlifts, I'd say there's a couple different ways of doing them. But what this is doing is really targeting the lockout. It's like half of an RDL. If that makes sense. So I'll show you. It's been a while since I've had these programmed, I think. We got 3 sets of 10. I don't know if that was 10 or not, but it is very light. I've seen people do these fairly heavy. When I was originally programmed them, I was told to do it light. Kind of not quite speed work, but almost like a catch and go. But it's really just training that lockout. It's like a rack pull without a rack. So you're catching it with your glutes and hamstrings ideally, and just repeating the process. You know, I was feeling good up until that last 698 warm-up. You know, I was just like, I wasn't really sure. I don't know. I pulled that last warm-up and it just felt like I was like, that's okay, done. But my body wanted to be done for whatever reason, but I knew I had 2 more sets. Well, not 2 more. I ended up having 2 more, but I had at least 1 more set, as a single. So, I don't know. We got it done, though. That's what matters. I keep comparing this. I'm so stuffy. I've got to be allergic to something, even with this on. But I keep comparing this deadlift prep to Olympic City Pro-Am prep because that was a max axle deadlift then. I know at our show it's a foo bar deadlift, so it's a little bit different, thinner. It's a thin axle. That's what it is. So it's a little bit different. Probably not much different. But I went and looked back and I hit 753 that prep. That was the top single, no sets or anything. I did that day it was 703, 728, 753. Because that was like uncharted territory for me at the time, as far as axle deadlifts go. So I didn't know what to expect. They all looked really bad. I wouldn't say that my top set today was better than my 753 was whenever I did that show. But I think it was. Do another set. I know it's a weird looking movement, but it's like cheese grating my legs. I'm glad I'm wearing leggings. So Worlds finally announced the events for the prelims, the qualifying rounds, whatever you want to call them. I have no idea what they are, I forget. There's like a deadlift, a press medley, probably a loading event like there is every year, which I like. And they announced the final guys that were invited to compete. Wes Derwinski, who should have been invited way long ago. I don't know if he was or not, but dude, he was 6th last year. I know making it to the final doesn't guarantee you a spot next year. But 6th? Come on. Who else? Patty Haynes earned his invite. I think Worlds is a good show for him. I don't think he'd do well at the Arnold or like the Shaw. I don't think he has that quite top end strength, unless we're talking about deadlift. But I could be wrong. He's just so fast and agile. He's so athletic that Worlds could be a good fit for him. If he gets his press up, he'll be dangerous. Who else? Andre Foitu. He's like 23 years old or something. He's a monster. He'll put up a good fight. Who else? Reno Nell, who I have only heard of recently. I have no idea who it was. But I guess I've heard some people say he's the next Mitch Hooper, which is pretty wild to put onto someone, considering just how much of a freak Hooper is. But I guess Reno Nell won like 4 Champions League in the final or whatever. I don't know much about him, but everybody says he's legit. Who else? Reno, Wes, Andre, Patty Haynes. Oh, Jaco Schoonwinkel, who honestly I don't agree with. He hasn't really done anything since Worlds last year that I know of. So I don't know about that one. There's one more. Wasn't there 6? Maybe not. I don't know. If I'm forgetting who you are, sorry. And then I saw a list saying reserves are Powell Dwyer number 1 and then Tim Buck number 2. I do think Tim Buck is He got a little bit screwed over by the fact that it's a 25 man this year instead of 30 men. Because if it was 30, I fully believe he would be there and he would do well. He's put up good fights for Lucas Hatton. He's probably even beaten him a few times. I don't know for sure, but Duke can roll with the big boys for sure. He is a big boy. All right, last set. That definitely wasn't 10, but some other people I'm looking forward to seeing at Worlds. I'll tell you right now, I don't see anybody beating Hooper unless there's some sort of catastrophe. Who I am very excited to see, the new guys. Oh, excuse me. Nick Guardione, who's just all around so good. These events will be good for him. He's very well rounded, so I think he'll be able to compete really well. Bryce Johnson, dude is like the next Brian Shaw. He looks like a little baby Shaw, who's not very little. He's an absolute monster. I don't know if Worlds is the best fit for him. He doesn't seem to be too fast. Yeah, I could be wrong about that. I haven't watched, like a ton of his stuff. Statically though, he has all the strength in the world. I want him to get invited to the Shaw Classic because I think that's where he'd shine. The dude has so much potential. And he's a garage gym guy, like me. He trains over there in Wisconsin. His winters are nice and cold. I'm trying to think of who else I'm excited to see. I don't know, I'm just excited for Worlds. I know this show itself sucks. There's a lot of stuff that they do wrong that which the true fans just don't care about and don't like. But Hooper actually said that he's done doing Worlds after this year. If they don't start paying for like families to come or people, like significant others or whatever. Because that's how it is right now, which seems insane to me. That you're competing at the world's strongest man under a multi-million-dollar organization, and they can't afford to fly out at least one significant other. You got to pay for it out of pocket, which is even dumber. Paying for it out of pocket is whatever. Like, that, it shouldn't happen. But it's not just that. You're there for a whole week. So you're paying for all that time, paying for whatever else, the flight, all that fun stuff, if you're flying across the world, for the food, all that. And then if you don't perform that well, you might get a couple $100 if you finish like last in your, I don't know what the exact prize pot is if you do, not well in your group. But you're gonna lose money. It's insane to take the top 25 in the world, or who should be the top 25 in the world, and not be able to provide the accommodations for them and their family. It's just blows my mind. So I think things will get better. I hope. I don't know. I'm kind of blabbering now. I've talked enough. Until next time, which should be Thursday, which is tomorrow, go out, get strong, stay strong, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.